All right, welcome to another episode of Soto Desperado Plays Star Wars: The Old Republic. This is where we left off. We're going on to the next mission. Some of these missions I don't think I could do alone, unfortunately, but if I can't, I'll go as far as I can and then just screw it, you know. But, yep, there we go. And let me see if I can. I have some videos lined up. Let's see. We got Anton Daniels, the Millionaire Morning Show. It's he went broke, then turned radical. Anton says Shamsud-Din Jabbar looked crazy before New Orleans. All right, so we're gonna start that. That's about 28 minutes.
Let's talk about this guy, right? Because usually what happens is it takes a little bit longer for us to learn as much as we possibly can about the culprits. Yeah, about the culprits. And when I say culprits, I'm talking about the ones that have been radicalized, the one that said that I don't want to just take my life, I want to take the people of the lives that's out around with me. I'm going to go ahead and plan New Orleans 2024 going into 2025, and I'm going to rent this car from Turo. And I'm going to ruin the app. And I'm also going to ruin the people's trucks that I'm renting it from. And I'm going to ruin the lives of the people that surround me. Now, the person in Las Vegas, they wasn't so fortunate. They didn't get to do the thing that they thought that they was going to do. But these people are being radicalized. And I think that it's a couple lessons to take from this. But before we get into the lessons, I actually want to show you who this guy was. And why you have to be careful. You got to look at your neighbor. Turn to your left. How they say in church? Turn to your left. Look at your neighbor. Turn to your left. Look at your neighbor. Turn to your right. Say one of us ain't going to make it. Amen. One of us ain't going to make it. You know how they start doing statistics? Let me tell you what statistics in church look like. They say, yeah, man, because they saying 1 out of every 3 people got a venereal disease. That means you. Turn to your neighbor to your left. Turn to your neighbor to the right. Let them know one of us ain't going to make it. You be like, man, that's a heck of a way to teach statistics, huh? That's a heck of a way to start looking at percentages. Turn to your neighbor to your left. Turn to your neighbor to your right. Say one of us got herpes. Turn to your neighbor to your left. Turn to your neighbor to your right. One of us is a single baby mama. Amen. Amen. Pass the collection plate, pastor. Anyways, the point that I'm making is that everybody has on a mask. Everybody is projecting confidence. Everybody is acting like they got it. Everybody on Instagram shaking it up, making it rain, doing what they do on a regular basis. For example, this is the man that wind up crashing a car inside of New Orleans and taking out over 15 people, injuring over 35. Your neighborhood real estate agent.
Good evening. I'm Shamsud-Din, Jabbar, property manager with Blue Metal Property.
Let me do this. I'm going to come back to this one because I actually want to download this video. For whatever reason, this is edited to where it's only coming out of one ear, so I'm going to come back to that. But let's go into the ties. I'm going to come back to that video. Let's go into the ties because they're trying to figure out whether or not there's any correlation between what happened in New Orleans and Vegas. Check it out.
Breaking this morning, federal officials are calling it a deliberate act of terror as the FBI is conducting searches across multiple states. 15 people are dead, many more injured after a man plowed his truck through crowded New Orleans streets just after the new year. 3 major questions this morning. Were there any accomplices? Was this attack tied to the Cybertruck explosion outside a Trump hotel in Las Vegas? There are notable similarities. Was this attack actually directed by ISIS or just inspired by the terror group? Just a short time ago, we learned the New Orleans attacker pleaded guilty to DUI charges in 2015, and police shared new details about a series of videos he allegedly recorded, one of which includes a pledge to ISIS. This morning, we're also learning more about the victims as witnesses now describe what they saw.
And we heard the gunshots, and everyone started running, and then they ended up locking us in the building, and they shut all the doors, told us to get down. And when we came outside, that's when we saw the truck that was crashed right outside where we were at. And we saw the first responders trying to save a young man. And they were working on him for so long, and we were just hoping and praying he was going to survive. But there was no life in him at all.
Now to the Tesla Cybertruck explosion in Las Vegas, just outside the doors of a Trump International hotel there. Surveillance video showing the powerful blast. Authorities are still trying to figure out if that was an act of terror or, as John mentioned, somehow linked to the attack in New Orleans. CNN's Veronica Miracle has more on that story.
Our John Miller is telling us he has spoken to multiple law enforcement officials who say that the driver of the Cybertruck has a military background. Now, law enforcement officials say they know the name of this driver who died in the explosion, but they are not going to be releasing the identity of that driver until they notify the next of kin. We understand that this driver was in Las Vegas for about an hour driving around the Strip before pulling up to Trump Tower before that explosion happened. And authorities say the driver rented the Cybertruck in Colorado via the Turo app before driving down to Las Vegas. Video released by law enforcement shows explosives that were contained inside the truck, which included fireworks, gas tanks, and camping fuel, and all of that was connected to a detonation system that was controlled by the driver. And the sheriff pointed out, which is really incredible, how the Cybertruck actually contained the explosion, the way that it was built forced the explosion to go upwards instead of outwards, which meant that the glass from Trump Tower was not broken, and 7 people nearby were injured, but with minor injuries. All of them are okay. They've all been released from the hospital. The driver did die, and Las Vegas police believe that this was an isolated incident. They are not yet willing to say if this was, in fact, connected to what happened in New Orleans, but it is quite unusual that both the drivers in these incidents rented their cars from Turo. We do have a statement from Turo, and they said they're cooperating with these investigations, but they also said that neither of the drivers had criminal backgrounds, which would have flagged them as security threats.
Investigators are searching for any possible links between the 2 New Year's Day attacks, the one in New Orleans and the one in Las Vegas.
Do I think it's a coincidence? I don't know, but what I can tell you is we're absolutely investigating any connectivity to what happened in New Orleans, as well as other attacks that have been occurring around the world. We're not ruling anything out yet.
All right, with us now, CNN senior law enforcement analyst, former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe. So the similarities are these. Both were using electric vehicles rented from this ride-share / user-to-user rental outfit.
Why is he making it so sensationalized?
Military backgrounds, both drivers, explosives on both trucks, Andy. Possible it's just a coincidence? What do you see there?
Still possible that that's just a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence.
But honestly, John, you have attacks occurring, vehicle-borne attacks occurring on the same day in different cities. That alone gets you a very intensive investigation to determine whether or not there's any connectivity between those two actors. And that could be anything from, interacting and planning and preparing together to execute those attacks, or it could be something as simple as a infrequent contact over social media. That
Cap, listen, I'm telling you that none of this stuff is the only way that it's not. Come on, stop it, bro. I'm not even gonna sit here and play no games. It's 100% coordinated. Shout out to my dog, Classy Beast. It's 100% coordinated. It is not a coincidence. This is not something that just came out of the blue. They didn't wake up and then both go on Turo in order to rent this out. Why do they gotta act like we retarded? Why they gotta act like we slow? Why they gotta act like we on a spectrum? Why they gotta act like we operating with a learning disability? We're not. We not stupid. We can put two in. I didn't need the news to put it together. I immediately knew what was happening. Oh, and I said it. I said it immediately. Yesterday and when this first dropped, when I dropped the video on the initial attack that was happening in New Orleans, I said that's a Ford Lightning. Oh, okay, I can see it because I could tell by the lights and the way that it's set up. I said, oh, that's a Ford Lightning. Immediately, I was able to see it. I seen the bullet holes in the back of the truck. that's a Ford Lightning. As soon as I heard them say that they rented it from an app that is similar to Airbnb, but for car users, they was on Turo. They were on Turo. Got it. Then I looked at what was happening in New Orleans. And I said, wait a minute. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, one in front of the Trump Hotel. Another one rented it from an app that's similar to Airbnb. Another Turo. Then we got to wait. It is. It was rented from Turo. They contacted them and Turo said that this. Man, listen. Of course it was. Of course it was. It was coordinated. It was one of them was dumber than the other. One of them was stupid. The other one was dumb, but he was able to pull it off a little bit more effectively than the other one. And that's how it kind of played out, and that's how it goes. And so it's not a coincidence. It's not something that's unrelated and just so happened to be happenstance, and they both just so happen to get on the app at the same time. No, dog, that's not what happened. This is what's happening. It is a coordinated attack. And for the time being, I think that people need to be very, very careful and vigilant about where they go, being situationally aware and paying attention to people that's doing unseemly things. Real talk.
Just brought them together as like-minded people. If there is any connection between the two of them, I am confident that our law enforcement and intelligence folks will uncover that, but they've got to look hard for it.
We heard from the FBI special agent, supervisory special agent in New Orleans, who said, we do not believe Jabbar, that's the New Orleans killer, acted alone. That's a direct, very direct comment there, Andy. What do you think gives them so much?
Y'all got to refresh. Just refresh your YouTube browser. That's not happening on my side. That's happening on the side of YouTube. This don't have nothing to do with me. This has everything to do with YouTube. Just refresh. It ain't got nothing to do with me. On my side, it's regular. On YouTube side, this is something that's happening. So just refresh and keep going.
Certainty at this point.
Yeah, it's really a bold thing to say, I think, this early in the investigation. There was a lot of talk yesterday about 4 other individuals who were captured on video surveillance, we believe somewhere near the site of one of these other IEDs that was recovered yesterday. That's been ruled out. So we still don't know if the FBI is quite as confident now that those 4 people have been ruled out about the presence of others. Nevertheless, there are other indicators here that could be forcing the investigators to broaden their search. And that is simply the fact that if these other suspected IEDs that were placed around the French Quarter are in fact connected to the driver of the truck, then there's a logistical challenge here. They're trying to determine, would it be possible for him to have created and placed those devices and then gotten in the truck and driven to his destined attack? So
let me show you the actual guy. I was able to get it together. This is the guy right here.
Good evening. I'm Shamsud-Din.
I had to go in and do some modification of the sound. I had to pull the original video from its source, because for whatever reason, whoever the editors are that's on a lot of these sites, apparently they don't know how to have the sound coming out of both speakers. I don't like that. I pulled the quality. I redid it myself in my own editing software. I re-uploaded it, and so I can present it to you guys. And this is what it coming from both speakers now, okay?
Jabbar, property manager with Blue Metal Properties and team lead at the Midas Group at Core Realty. I just want to say hello and let you know a little bit about me. So I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hit.
See this normal guy? Normal, everyday guy, put on his blazer, got the good hair, went got groomed, put the discipline thing in the background, right? A normal, everyday guy. A normal, everyday guy. And this is the person that drove into all of the people and was radicalized, apparently by ISIS. This is the person that was radicalized, and then he got to the point to where he actually wanted to kill people.
I'm Shamsud-Din Jabbar, property manager with Blue Metal Properties and team lead at the Midas Group at Core Realty. I just want to say hello and let you know a little bit about me. So I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hitch. So I've taken those skills and applied them to my career as a real estate agent.
Somebody said, is this a suspect? No, this is the culprit. They actually found this guy. I mean, this is the guy that did it.
Where I feel like what really sets me apart from other agents is my ability to be able to, one, be a fierce negotiator. So not only do I brilliantly market your property to make sure it gets sold as quickly as possible or gets leased as quickly as possible, but I'm also going to take every ounce of energy and putting it into negotiating for you and for your property to get the best deal that you can possibly get for it. So once we get to the closing table, all the I's are going to be dotted, all the T's are going to be crossed, everything's going to go off without a hitch, and that is my word that I'm giving to you as your real estate agent.
Your word, I can't trust your words, big dog. You see the difference? Do you see the difference? You see what happens? Well, first of all, let me just say something, y'all. If you dusty, it's just because most of the time you broke. Let's bring it back to a realistic lens, okay? If you are dusty, that means that your picture that you're taking when you get arrested, your mugshot, is going to make you look dustier. Most of the time, people that are dusty, they just going through some things. They just a little broker than usual. Because you see how he looked when he started getting into real estate. He made it out of the military. He worked in human resources. He was an IT specialist. He looked listen, this is the guy that a lot of girls are saying you need to go outside and date outside so that you can go and get the guy that's going to take care of you. This is him. He show up to the date. He shake your hand. He tells you that everything is all right, and you can have his word that he's going to work as hard as possible at closing to ensure that you get all of your I's dotted and your T's crossed. And you see what happened when he fell into disrepair? You see what happened when he fell into disrepair? When he turned into a crash dummy? That's what happens when you get dusty. Now you see why I look at you through the lens that I look at you through when you dusty. When I see dusty people and then I go to their profile or I go to their YouTube page, or I see that they got a link back to their Instagram and I go to their Instagram page, I say, oh man, they don't hate me, they just broke. I'm going to break it down to you from a completely different lens than they going to give it to you on the news. Listen, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, when y'all make that offer, when y'all get into this bidding war for my services to see if I could join y'all network permanently, this is what you got to look forward to. Real talk. Real life and real talk. When I see some of these guys that's in my chat being player number 2, and oh my God, I hate you. Why are you always talking about yourself? You had to make it about you. And then I go to their profile and I say, okay, you know what? They don't hate me, they hate them. They don't hate me, they hate their circumstance, because at one point they might have been the guy on the left. But today, as they type in my chat, they're the guy on the right. They're the guy on the right. They don't hate me. They just dusty. They just tired. That's the same person. 2 different circumstances, 2 different financial situations. A lot of times radicalization come from being so broke that you get down the wrong rabbit hole on the internet because you're looking for a solution. Instead of turning to Jesus, you turn to a terrorist organization. Honest to God. And I go to their profile. Real talk. I do, because I'll be curious. I want to understand the users. I don't want to just understand the people that that want to get into the Patreon and rock out and run up a bag and all of that stuff. I want to get into and understand the people that may not be as dust free. And then I go to their profile picture and I say, He don't hate me. He just divorcing right now. I get it. He don't hate me. He just got two spare tires on his car. Where he got the second spare tire, I don't know. But he just got 2 spare tires on it. Oh, I get it. I get it now. He don't hate me. He just laid off. He just broke. Because we all go through it. I was broke in 2008 too. I was broke in 2008. My mental was all messed up. My beard started looking crooked. My gap in my teeth had got gappier. You know what I'm saying? Seemed like one eyebrow was higher than the other one. You find everything wrong with yourself once you become broke. You're like, good God, what is wrong with my head? Why is it crooked on one side? One of my ears started being a little bit more indented than the other one. Real talk. You like, good God. But when you got money, when you got money, see, they're going to be mad at this one. I promise you they're going to be mad at this one. When you got money, I don't even have to shave my beard. Ladies be defending me. Oh, no, listen. Girl, he not unshaven. He just hustling right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I got to shave my beard. They be like, I like the gray. That's just your wisdom whiskers. That's your wisdom whiskers. Oh, man, I thought I was looking a little dusty. But when you broke, that's when they saying, yeah, you need to go and get a makeover. It's just different. It's just different. When you got money and you don't shave, they say that you got wisdom whiskers. When you broke and you ain't shaved, you dusty. It just hit different. You walk different. You talk different. They could tell you dusty. Your shoes don't curl the same. You start doing stuff that you never did before, wearing Ugg boots and trying to change your jeans or something. I don't know what happens, but for whatever reason, it just turned different. People don't want to hear how smart. They don't want to hear your wisdom no more. You ain't as smart as you used to be. Yeah, this is what they say. No matter what you say, yeah, he always talking, but how come he ain't doing it for himself? This is how you turn into the person that is out here running into people on New Year's Eve and trying to find your tribe. Now your tribe ain't the bag chasers no more. Now your tribe is ISIS. You radicalized. You're a part of a cult. You know what I'm saying? That's how it. This is exactly how it fall. This is how it fall. You start, you know what I'm saying, wearing all kind of nonsense. You just be doing stuff. You be trying to figure out your way. Your t-shirts don't hang the same way on your body. It seems like every collar is drunk. You'll start wearing V-necks instead of regular tees. I went through that phase. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then all of your shirts ride up the same way. No matter how much you go to the gym, you can't lose no weight. And it ain't because you're not doing the right thing. It's because your pockets is wrong. No matter how much you go to the gym, you can't lose no weight. And it's not because you're not doing it the right way. It's because your pockets is wrong. Nothing fit. Your clothes don't fit the same way. You keep holding on to this. I'm gonna work that off. I'm gonna fit into that next year. No, you're not. You just gotta get some money. You just gotta get some money. They don't want to. Think about it. When you got money, you never have a problem getting your health insurance, like whatever it is, approved. Whatever claim you got going through, you could crash your car. You can purposely crash your car. Don't worry about it, Mr. Daniels. We got it. You're good. You holding on to that insurance, you get into a car accident, they going through your whole history. They trying to find out if you was behind on your car note to see if you was trying to intentionally crash your car. No, I'm just struggling right now. I still paid my insurance. We're going to send out an investigator out there to see what you're going on. That's how you turn into Luigi player number 2. This is how you turn into the guy that ran into the people in New Orleans. I'm trying to tell you that having the bag solves a multitude of problems. You know what? We lost some money on that. No worries. No worries. We're good. We're good. You walk different. You talk different. That's when you start being radicalized. You find yourself inside of people's comments. Hate watching. I hate you. I can't stand you. You and your chick be on the side of the road with a Bible trying to preach to people in another group with a whole other group of other guys that got dust on their head. Nobody got their hair brushed. No matter how much you brush your hair, you can't get no waves. No waves, no plays, no nothing. Your chick keep giving you that she feeling sorry for you. The box ain't even the same when you go home. Married or not, the box ain't even the same when you go home, because you can tell when she love you, when she really enjoying you and life is good, it's a different type of box. You may be still getting boxed when you dusty, but it ain't the same. It's like it's that sympathy box. I'm gonna give you some so you can get your life together, or this is my duty as a. See, when you ain't got no money, it's the duty as a wife. When you got money, it's because I just believe you the greatest of all time. It's different. It's just you ain't even got to be giving her no money. You just got to have money, and that's the difference. See, you ain't got to be distributing the money. You just got to be the dude that got it, and so they just gonna do it because you just him. It's two different ways. It's two different people. You are, and the reason that I'm helping y'all to understand this is because I want you to understand who these radicals are. I need y'all to be situationally aware. I'm teaching you what a radical looks like. This is a life lesson for you. That's why it's called the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm teaching you the difference of having money versus not having money. When you, let me get this guy off my TV. He making my screen dusty. I feel like I got fingerprints on my screen right now. When you have money, all right, we are a doppelganger of ourselves. There are two different versions of us. I'm telling you the truth. It's the dusty you, and it's the rich you. And it ain't no in between. It's the dusty, because the in between is you trying to struggle and determine whether or not you're going to fall into dust or if you're going to fall into greatness. If you're going to fall into radicalism or you're going to fall into righteousness. It's two different versions of you in this lifetime. You are a doppelganger of yourself. One of you are poor and the other one of you has everything. One of you are poor and the other of you have everything. And I can tell the difference in the people that's even in the chat that watch. The people that's going to respond to this video when we clip it up, it's going to be a difference. Yeah. You notice how think about it. Do you notice how everybody in Miami is beautiful? No matter what they do for a living. They all of them, it's a whole nother vibe. And then everybody that's in the suburbs of some Midwestern town is frumpy. They all got Wrangler jeans. And so then y'all, and this is the problem, y'all start to compare those people against people that's actually in a different environment that's trying to compete with each other. And you say, see, the women back in the day, they used to hold Big Daddy down. That's because they was in that small town. My family come from Dawson, Georgia. I know. All of the women in Bumble F, Ohio is frumpy. Freckles here, freckle there. Meth heads, dope fiends.
It's okay.
Go to the barn for the hay rides. The only time that people come to your town is when it's seasonal so that they can come and pick pumpkins. But you go down to Miami, you go to some of these other places, everybody has just got it together. Beautiful. Money, riches, greatness everywhere. Everybody talks like this. Everybody's teeth is beautiful. No gap. See that? No gap. It's different.
Only the greatest noticed, did you? This is just a... You will die here. Such unworthy opposition. Submit. It is the only way. Why do you fight when you cannot win? Now witness true strength. The power of the dark side is infinite.
Take it slow for a while.
Death is your only escape. This is what the Republic sends against the Dark Council? Pathetic! I've faced training droids with greater skill. You should never have come here. This is what the Republic sends against the Dark Council? Pathetic! The power of the dark side is infinite. Why do you fight when you cannot win? Oh! Impossible!
Ooh.
A member of... He could barely... Your take...
Stand by for examination and suggested products. You are fit for duty. Return to your post.
Oh, sorry. I forgot that. I had finished with this guy. We're going to do the next one. Another Millionaire Morning Show. He had a new baby, was cheating on his wife. Anton says Matthew Livelsberger was politically driven.
I have my conspiracy theory hat on a lot of times, but I like to reserve judgment because I want to see everything. I don't want to just see the facts of what happened. I want to know what's going on with the person. I want to know why they did it. I want to know what their background is. I told y'all yesterday when we was breaking down that guy, the guy that was over in New Orleans that rented the truck from Turo and ran over a bunch of people. And we went over his previous videos and stuff like that. We looked at his photos back and forth, and I told y'all, oh, he just got dusty. He was just going through some stuff. He was having a midlife crisis, and he didn't know how to get through it. He was sheltered as a kid, And so what happened is the minute that you start going through adversity when you get older, you don't know how to handle it, and then you crash out. Well, this new guy, the Cybertruck bomber, I'm going to just call him the Cybertruck bomber. He had a really regular name, Matthew Livelsberger or something like that. The new guy, we learning more and more about him, courtesy of CNN, the New York Post, and all of these people that's digging into his background, including all his friends and stuff like that. Ex-wife, wife, girlfriends, new baby. We found out a lot of things. So, number one, his relationship status is complicated on Facebook. I keep telling y'all don't want to use y'all context clues and learn about what the truth is. I'm trying to tell you that real life, practical logic will get you far. I know that on the news and the FBI, they want to say, yeah, and he was a first Green Beret and all of this stuff. I'm looking at the other part of it. I want to know the other side of it. What's your relationship status? How many hoes you have on the side? What's the last place you traveled? You went to the Dominican Republic? You was in Sasua? You got a baby? New baby on the way? Okay. See, that tell me more than anything that the FBI can tell me. That's why I'll be wanting to know what's all of that other stuff that you got going on. You start putting statuses like, it's complicated. You got women over here keep changing their statuses every other month. First she in a new relationship, new year, new me, new man. And then now all of a sudden you divorcing him because, oh my God, he was just so verbally abusive. I'm starting to see a pattern here. Just like the FBI, just like Mindhunters. I'm putting together a composite and a profile of who you are and what your next situationship is going to be. First, let's go over to the police and CNN to find out more about this guy as far as the actual act, and then we're going to deep dive into his life, all right?
Officials in Vegas talking now about the Cybertruck attack there at the Trump Hotel. Let's listen in.
As many of you went to sleep last night, and I just want to give you an update on a lot of what it is that we found through the processing of the Cybertruck. This is a joint investigation involving the FBI, the ATF, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and these folks worked through the night and found a lot of stuff that is very useful for this investigation. As you look at this Cybertruck here, we had to transport this down to our fleet services so that we could really get through this thing. And I remind you that the subject inside wasn't able to be removed for a very long period of time because he was burnt beyond recognition. And so as we continue to move through this, I'm going to talk a little bit about his identity and what we believe, but I would like to highlight a couple of things that the teams found inside of the Cybertruck that are useful to the investigation. And that, first and foremost, is a military identification. We also found a passport.
Now, okay, so color me crazy and take this with a grain of salt, because I will say that I am a C student, lifetime C student, confirmed by my mother and my transcripts. I had 1 year in high school where I got like a 3.36 or something like that. I said, oh, wait, look at me. New year, new me. I had one semester, 1 year in high school, I had like a 3.36, and nothing changed in my life. And I was like, you know what? That 2.75 is doing me just okay. That 2.75 worked just right for me. Y'all, I don't want to put it, because see, either you're going to have to go all the way with the extra effort, you're going to have to get a 4.0, because a 3.36 is just as good as a 2.75. You don't get anything better with a 3.36 versus a 2.75, 3.36. Y'all both going to the same school, and you're not getting no extra. You can get a tassel. You can get a tassel, a different color tassel. 3.36, 2.75, same thing. B minus, C plus, same difference. Ain't no difference in that. So, color me crazy, all right? Color me a little left. But this is the thing that I'm trying to understand, okay? He was burnt to a crisp, so much so that it was hard to identify him. He was burnt to a crisp, so much so that they couldn't identify him, but they was able to get a tangible military ID and a passport. What? The guns were melted. The guns were melted. Now, unless the explosion created a projectile to where it blew his stuff over to different places and they had to go and find it and stuff like that, that's one thing. But they saying that the basic car was an inferno. It turned into an inferno. And he basically burnt up and they couldn't hardly even identify him except for some key pieces. So how was the passport? Because I need to know if the passport was still in the car. Did it blow up and then it flew out of the car or something like that? How was his military ID and his passport still legible to where you can read different things and see that he was from Arizona? That is the weirdest thing ever to me. But let's continue. We're just going to go based off of what we see.
We found a Desert Eagle 50 caliber
Look at the gun.
semi-automatic pistol. And if you'll notice on a lot of these guns that we're going to talk about here, they're almost just burnt beyond recognition as well. There's a SLR model B30 semi-automatic firearm. Number of fireworks that were still in the vehicle that had to be removed. Notably, we found an iPhone and a smartwatch.
I said stop
and
thinking
then
too much.
several
Just go with
credit
what they tell
cards
us.
were also in the name of our subject. Our subject
Passports are
is
indestructible.
37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger.
What in the world, TV?
He's of Colorado
Seriously?
Springs, Colorado, born July 22nd of 1987. Now, as you'll see here on a picture of his driver's license, let's see, the question really still remains for me, and I know that there's a lot of you folks in the media that are identifying this person as the person in our vehicle. As I mentioned to you already, his body is burnt beyond recognition, and I do still not have confirmation 100% that that is the individual that was inside of our vehicle. And so as I'm calling it now, the subject or person of interest, I will not come back until I have the confirmation through DNA or medical records that this is indeed, in fact, the subject inside of the vehicle. Now, further complicating this identification of this individual, we also discovered through the coroner's office that the individual had sustained a gunshot wound to the head prior to the detonation of the vehicle. One of the handguns was found at his feet inside of the vehicle. Obviously, in how we're trying to identify him, and I'm feeling comfortable to give you this information, is a tremendous amount of substantial evidence to include he rented the Turo vehicle. There are 2 tattoos, one of which was on the stomach and one of which is on the arm.
What? All right, now, again, color me crazy as a C student. See, this segment then changed from me actually identifying the things that's the problem for him to, wait a minute, this don't add up. So, in the New Orleans attack, the FBI first said that it wasn't a terrorist attack. Then the FBI came back and said that it was a terrorist attack. In this attack, it said that he was burnt beyond recognition, but they can find 2 tattoos on him. What? Okay, wait a minute. Either you burn beyond recognition or they're able to find 2 tattoos on you. Which one is it? Calling me crazy because I'm not the sharpest knife in the tool shed, but either you're burnt beyond recognition or they can find the tattoos, your passport, your military ID, and be able to identify who you are. Which one is it? And they both just so happen to rent cars from Turo that was electric vehicles. And you could have went to any of the most busy places. Hold on. Come on, y'all. Hold on. Let's just stop for a minute. Because we just going to mine this out in real time. You could have went to any of... Has anybody been to Las Vegas and been on a strip? Bro, In-N-Out Burger got more people out there than the Trump Hotel. If you go over to the Flamingo and you walk down, or you can just go to an In-N-Out Burger that's off the strip. You can go to downtown Vegas. Now, I'm not telling nobody what to do. I'm just giving my theory to try to better understand what's going on. If you go to downtown Vegas and you just watch the people cross the street on Fremont Street, you'll have more people around you and do more damage than to park in front of the Trump Hotel that doesn't even have a casino in it. Everybody know that has been to Vegas multiple times. We know that the Trump Hotel does not even have a casino in it. It is just a hotel. And it is not even on the Strip. It is slightly off the Strip. It is off the Strip. See student perspective, see student hat on. I'm just trying to understand. Don't tell me how radical these people are. None of this stuff is adding up. Honest to God, none of this stuff is adding up. None of it is making sense to me. The Wynn is busy. The Bellagio is the busiest hotel on the Strip. The Bellagio is the busiest hotel on the Strip. Right? The Aria is connected right next to the Vidara, which is connected right next to the Bellagio. You could have parked right in the middle of Vegas, on the middle of the street, and you would have had more busyness around you than that if you just wanted to make a scene. Anyways, let's continue.
That we can see bits and pieces of it as in comparison to what it is that we now know he had on his body. That has given us a lot of confidence that this is, in fact, the same person. As well as, which the clearly obvious, which is the credit cards, the military identification.
Credit cards? Y'all seen credit cards too? Yeah, credit cards I was able to get the number off of.
Port. And then furthermore, as you'll see here in just a very short period of time, we tracked his movements from Colorado to Las Vegas, and in a number of the photographs that we were able to determine, he was the individual that was driving the vehicle. And also, I'd like to iterate this point to you. We still have only ever seen him in this vehicle, and we're not aware of any other subjects involved in this particular case. Now, I would like to acknowledge a couple of things because I know what's going on in the social media world, and there are a number of things in this case
Bellagio,
that are
Caesars,
similar to the attack
all of that is
in
right next to
New Orleans. We do know that our subject here served in the military. In fact, he's...
All right, we don't need to get into all of that. So let's deep dive into what, for example, the New York Post is saying that was popping with him. So let me see if I can pull that up. All right. His name was Matthew Livelsberger. This is the fun part, y'all. This is the fun part. So, Matthew Livelsberger, according to the New York Post and several other outlets, they are saying that his wife broke up with him days before the explosion outside of the Trump Hotel. Let's deep dive. Goes on to say, she broke up with him 6 days before he killed himself inside of the vehicle. He left his Colorado Springs home the day after Christmas following an argument with his wife over apparent infidelity. Whose infidelity? Hers or his? His wife, who had a baby daughter, reportedly told him that she knew he had been cheating. All right. So it's either one or two things. Either the government is playing in our faces, or he turned into a crash dummy because he got caught with a little side piece. What a little side piece. Either the government is playing in our faces, or he was out here triggering off on these chicks. I'm going to let y'all be the judge of it. Let's continue. That's him with his baby daughter. All right. After leaving Colorado, he rented a cyber truck, made his way to Vegas, parked in front of the Trump Hotel. Yeah, we know about all of that. New development in the case, investigators are probing whether the soldier's motive was purely personal rather than political, as previously considered given the location of the detonation and choice of vehicles. Goes on to say they've been looking into the possibility that the bombing was politically charged, but it occurred outside of a hotel owned by the president-elect Donald Trump and inside a vehicle made by the company of Trump's close ally, Elon Musk, according to FBI officials. I guess that's him and his chick. Active member of the Army's elite special forces, known to be a Rambo-type patriot, staunch Trump supporter, and law enforcement officers are investigating if he had purposely picked the Cybertruck to limit civilian casualties rather than for political reasons. The Cybertruck's impenetrable steel design containing explosion while still giving off large fumes. He loved Trump. He was always very, very patriotic soldier and patriotic American. Is that his chick? I'm not believing this. I don't believe it. My gut and my instincts tell me that there is a lie happening. So you telling me that he had a newborn baby. He was an ardent American and supporter. He loved Trump, but then he blew up a Cybertruck in front of the Trump Hotel. His wife was cheating on him right after having a newborn baby. Found out and they divorced, or she broke up with him 6 days before the incident happened. Okay. Yeah, they put that piece together really well. And they found his passport and his military ID. And the only part of his body that wasn't burned to recognition was his leg and his arm that had the biggest tattoos on it. Okay. Get the heck out of there. Me personally, I'm not saying that none of it is true, but I'm just saying I don't believe none of it. Me and my little C student brain, I don't even believe a piece of it. Not even a little bit of it. He was cheating on me. Okay. I'll stay on top of it. And as I learn more information, we'll put it together. We'll put our pieces together.
None of that really adds up. I'm going to have to agree with him on this one simply because it's too many contradictions in the story. He just had a kid and he's killing himself. The only reason somebody like that would kill themselves is if the organization said, you're going to kill yourself. Or we'll kill you and your newborn kid. That's the only reason anybody in that position would do that, because they know that even though they're in the military and they maybe know some people after all those years, nobody's going to be able to help them with certain people. I think this is just some bullshit that they threw together. Just some nonsense they're forcing on people. Oh, okay. This one is a better one. All right. Well, it took me a moment to get that done. Anyway, that's Anton, Millionaire Morning Show. This is an interesting one. It's by Chisha Zed. I'm pregnant with my brother's child. The coffee pod.
Telling y'all how I got pregnant by my brother. So I left off by telling y'all, how we looked at so much alike. So I just took that as, oh, this is my soulmate. Like, we look alike, we vibe good, whole lot of other stuff. So, yeah. Well, to go deeper into details, so at the time when he was hitting me up on social media, he had hit me up for like 3 years, but I had a boyfriend, and I don't do all that, no activities. So I never responded. I just used to open it.
In case you didn't hear her, she says she doesn't do 304 festivities and got hit up by her brother, it sounds like, who she didn't know was her brother while she was in another relationship. That's how it started. This video is titled, How I Got Pregnant by My Blood Brother. What?
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
The message, like, you can save it just so you can see, like, oh, you said something to me, but I ain't respond, I saved it. So when me and my boyfriend had finally broke up, I was like, technically a junior in college, really a sophomore. But yeah, I was technically a sophomore, but really a junior. But that's a story for a whole nother day. So let's just say junior. So me and my ex-boyfriend broke up when I was a junior in college. Okay. And then I ended up dating my baby's father, which is still my man and currently.
Okay.
There's no way I heard that right. Hold on. There's no way. I got to adjust my mic. I've got to lean in closer. There is no way I just heard her say, which is still my man currently, my brother. Hold on. Give me a second. We're going to have to run that back just to make sure.
So me and my ex-boyfriend broke up when I was a junior in college, and then I ended up dating my baby's father, which is still my man and currently.
Wow. Beyond speechless. Beyond speechless.
But yeah, when I responded to him, I was just like, hey, let's link. And the story on how, I think I'm going to have to tell y'all about how I even got to responding to him on Facebook, just so it can make sense, because I don't want y'all to just be like, hi.
This is never going to make sense. This is never going to make sense. This is never going to make sense. No, you don't have to do a follow-up video. You should have taken this to the grave, ma'am. What is going on?
You randomly respond to him. So I had this homegirl. She was one of the people who was like a part of the festivities at the time, but she's very redeemed now. She's a wife or mom. But
I don't care. I'm pausing a bunch of times because I can't believe this shit. She just said that she's not part of the 304 festivities, right? And then, but she says she has a homegirl who she could hit up when she was ready for the 304 festivities. Birds of the same feather flock together, gentlemen. And listen, of course, it doesn't mean that that's the situation every single time. In most cases, if you got a close friend who's into the 304 festivities, and that's what your circle does, then you're part of that. You're a part of that. This is insane.
I used to be like, girl, where you find them from? And she'd be like, girl, you gotta respond to him on Facebook. So she was like, you got to respond to them on Facebook, girl. They in the messages. So I'm like, okay, come on in. Let's, go through my messenger and see who we going to respond to. So we at work at the time. I was working at Aeropostale. So we at work and we just going through my messenger. And like everybody that we clicked on with it, they probably like, no, immediately, no. So came across, his profile. And I'm like, I like him. He looks good. He my type. So I responded, and literally within like 5 minutes, probably within 5 minutes, he responded back quick. Like I saw the bubbles popped up before I even exited out the messages. So when I sent it, I hurried up and skedaddled. But yeah, so that's how I ended up hitting him up, because my friend suggested for me to find me up on Facebook, and that's what it is. So after I responded to him or whatever, I kind of feel bad because he had like a dude picture as like his cover photo, or like I don't remember if it was the cover photo or if it was just like a picture on his page or something, like him and his dude. So when me and my friend who I was telling y'all about is having this conversation, it's not just us, it's like 6 of us involved.
Ma'am, get to the point, please. Please get to the point. Little tip to the chicks who tell these stories. I get that you gotta, keep it dragging, but let's just get to the point. Trust me, the video will be a lot more attention grabbing.
This conversation, so everybody on the same type of time. So when we had came across my dude profile and was like, oh, he cute, we had tried to figure out like, what we gonna say. We can't just slide in the DMs dry. Like we gotta like, shoot the shot. So I had ended up texting him and was like, my homegirl wanna know what's up with your friend, but I'm trying to see what's up with you. I do that for So why he texted back and was like, so my friend is dead. He been dead for a few months now. So I'm like, should we abort the mission? Because what? Ain't no way we just failed the shot like that. But he ended up texting me over like, shit, I do want you though. I've been trying to get it a minute. And I'm like, a minute?
I hope you guys can understand this. But I'll just say this. I don't know if she was messing with street dudes, but if the guys you're messing with, it could have been like health issues or something, but more likely the guys you're messing with have boys who are dying left and right. That oh man, listen. You can't make this shit up.
I don't drink coffee.
We know.
I don't drink coffee.
We know.
I don't know. I only see like one message on Facebook. People like, you got to check the other site. So that's when I knew then that he had hit me up for like 3 years. I didn't know that he was him, if that makes sense.
And it ends just like that. And that's because she's going to keep telling more and more of this story. And it's all going to make sense in the end when it's never going to make sense. This is insane. My only question is, how is she still with her brother? How are you still with your brother? There's probably an issue here that's never discussed when it comes to men who populate the earth along with the women who allow them to use their bodies to do that, and just have a bunch of kids everywhere. No intention of taking care of them, usually within the same area. And these people coming together and being attracted to each other. It's actually called something. It's called genetic sexual attraction. And it's this thing. Well, let me talk to Miss Coffee here. She'll explain it a lot better than I do. Miss Coffee, can you explain genetic sexual attraction, please?
The concept is called genetic sexual attraction, GSA. It describes a phenomenon where close biological relatives, such as siblings, parents, or children, who meet for the first time as adults experience a strong emotional and sexual attraction. This is thought to occur due to the inherent familiarity in genetic similarities, which can unintentionally mimic the feelings of attraction, especially if the individuals grew up without the usual familial bonds that would prevent such feelings, like sibling rivalry or parental imprinting. GSA is not a universally accepted scientific term and remains controversial and relatively understudied.
Now we have to check out these comments. So this commenter here says, so after you found out that was your brother, I know the baby was already here, but you all stayed together? Somebody responded back and says, she says they still together. Here's somebody else who says, I was just making sure I heard that right. That's insane. Somebody else here added, mind you, this is my first impression of you. Here's another chick who says, I was cool until you said, still my man. So this chick was like, hey, I could forgive mistakenly being attracted to your sibling, but as soon as I found out that you stayed with your brother, now this is crazy. Another person here says, some things just shouldn't be spoken on. Here's somebody else who says, when did y'all find out you were siblings? Does anyone make it weird? She responded back to this one and says, we found out after I got pregnant because some labs for the baby came back weird. I'm going to tell the story on the next part. So labs for the baby came back weird. Miss Coffee, can you explain how someone would find out that they had a baby with their sibling based on abnormal labs from the child? Hey, listen, you've got to love our AI assistant barista, Miss Coffee.
Doctors sometimes check a child's DNA to figure out why they're sick or have unusual health issues. DNA is like a blueprint we inherit from our parents. Normally, kids get a mix of different genes from each parent, but if the parents are closely related, like siblings, the child might inherit many identical genes. This can lead to genetic problems, and doctors can spot these patterns in DNA tests.
And those genetic problems are why this is so dangerous.
If they see a lot of identical genes, they may test the parent's DNA and realize they share a lot of the same DNA, which could mean they're siblings. This explains the child's health problems.
And so my question is, if this is the case and the child already might possibly have health problems, why stay together and continue this? This is crazy. I have so many questions. This actually reminds me of the documentary. Have you guys seen the documentary on Netflix called The Man with 1,000 Kids? So the documentary is a really interesting documentary that delves into the very true story of Jonathan Mayers. This guy's like a super sperm donor who like donated sperm to thousands of women. I'm talking globally. He started out in the Netherlands, I believe, and based on the documentary, the way they presented the information, which to this day he denies it and doesn't take, I think there's some accountability that he definitely tries to avoid, but he denies all this, right? But he would tell these women that he's only donating to 3 or 4 families, and they eventually found out that he had thousands of kids, and a good number of these kids were in the same area. So the guy's what they would call like a serial sperm donor. And in the beginning, if you're a guy watching this, it's sort of interesting because it starts off like he's helping these families out. So these are families who maybe have difficulty having a kid, or they're lesbian, and they're so grateful that he helps them out until they find out that he's helping more people out. And now they're like, oh, we have to stop this man. One of the issues that's presented is this very same situation of genetic sexual attraction. These kids would actually meet at school, or parents would have conversations about their kids looking alike. And they would be like, yeah, our kids look alike, and then end up finding out that they both used him as a sperm donor. And so this whole situation pretty much climaxes, if this is a spoiler alert if you haven't seen the documentary.
Oh, I ran out of my eggs.
But the climax of the whole documentary is when they're finally able to restrain him being able to father thousands of these children, and they pretty much like tack a fee on him for every child he decides to donate to. I think it's like $100,000 per child, which is interesting, right? Very weird stuff too with that whole situation, because these sperm donor companies, they get the sperm for free, and so they're making a shitload of money off this guy's sperm, and it's good quality sperm. When women see him, that's the other thing. A lot of these chicks found him attractive, and some of them admitted that they decided to have the kids what they called the natural way. Yeah, he was clapping cheeks. This chick right here was like, I had it the natural way. You know, it was an interesting documentary, I would say, for sure. And in the end, he refuses to take any ounce of accountability for anything at all. And I think there's some accountability to be taken there. Just like any other man who's out here creating a bunch of children within the same general region, they are more likely to come together and possibly be attracted to each other. I'm trying to see if I can find anything here on the guy. I think I've got a Vlad documentary here that says Jonathan Meyer, in parentheses, man with 1,000 kids, lied to sperm recipients about how many kids he had. Let's check it out.
Okay, well, like we said earlier, when they changed the laws in the Netherlands where they exposed donors' names at the age of 16, when the child turned 16, suddenly you had this huge decrease in the number of donors and sperm banks were closing. But a website popped up, which translated as longing for a child. What's the Dutch word for it?
Verlangen naar een kind.
Thank you. I knew I wasn't going to be able to pronounce that. So this was the only website in Holland that was essentially a marketplace for sperm donors.
No.
No, that's not true?
That's
what they say in the documentary.
That's why...
There's multiple websites?
Yeah, there were multiple, like, how do you call it, proto-websites before. There was Badmam, like .nl. It's like for single moms, like that want to consciously become single mom with a donor. There was like a store.
Consciously become single mom by choice. I guess when the world is families are broken up and the family structure is at risk of being eradicated, then you have these type of situations.
Or something website where there will be like many platforms, but this longing for a child was the one that stepped up like in quality for that time, because most of these old websites were not really like administrated well. Like the administrator would be like, like weeks later, there's a guy on the website like asking for a big amount of money for a donation, and they maybe wouldn't even mind that much. But with Longing for a Child website, there was really like a criteria. You cannot you cannot like offer like I want to do natural insemination. Like it's something you have to be open to donate artificially in the first place. And if the woman, or if you make some sort of agreement, it's fine, but you cannot say like I do only like natural insemination, or asking more than travel expenses and like extreme amounts of money. Maybe some ask like travel expenses at $50 extra, but not like I ask like $500 for one donation, because that also attracts the wrong man. Of course, they will maybe give something else than sperm to just have a side job.
Yeah,
it sounds like at the time there were dudes out there who were only making the natural way available for women who wanted a child, so they were using it to clap these women's cheeks, and on top of that, they were tacking a fee.
So that was the difference with the previous sites. It was really more regulated.
Okay, what year did you sign up to this website?
Oh, I think the year it got launched. So
okay, it was around 2015, 2014, something like that?
Something, yeah.
Okay, so now you're on this website, and this sort of is an alternate way than going to a sperm bank, because you now have a direct contact with the donor. And it basically, the website's still up.
Yeah.
I checked it out. So it basically lists names with ages.
Still up? That's crazy.
A small little write-up, no pictures. And women would essentially email, you would put up an email that you would use for this type of thing. Women would start emailing you. And then from there, you would start to, exchange photos, whatever else. And then if it seemed like it was a good match, you would first meet in person. Is that accurate?
Yeah. They would, in my case, they would write me. I never approach anybody by myself. I thought it was kind of odd to do that. So I got like received an email. I checked like, okay, do they match my criteria, the basic criteria? And then you...
What is your criteria?
Mostly it's like the way people present themselves. Like if they come off like some people will just write a line like, hey, can you help? That's like, no. Or they would say like, I turned 18 years old. I live with my mom and I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Next. You have to, provide like a statement. You don't have to be like like for me, I don't have like a criteria for educational level or looks or most important, a good mother or father, parents, with love, attention, a secure place, and basic necessities, so that they could provide for the children, not have extreme debt and all these things. So healthy from minds, and that was my criteria. But along the way, people, they saw you like, oh, this is my this is my delivery guy. I can just order for him. Okay, you come to the station at that and that time, you deliver, and I say, well, wait, that's not the way. I want to have a little bit of contact, like to get to know you, but not like I'm a sort of delivery guy. Like, okay, pap, here, bye, and because for me, it was also important that the children will be in a good place when they grow up, and when they are asking, like, where's my biological father, and how did it sort of happen? And if the mother will say, I don't know, this is his name, I've never heard from him again, or here's his email, he came to the station, and that's really not a nice story for a child.
So he has a YouTube channel, and in the documentary, they presented it as if this was some elaborate plan for him to have a bunch of children, which, if you ask me, I think the 1,000 Kids sounds good as a Netflix documentary series. But in actuality, when you start seeing just how many centers and how popular he was, how many centers he donated to, all throughout the world. I mean, they were flying this guy to Africa. They nicknamed him the Lion of Mombasa. And he was building this cult following, but they were painting it like he wanted these kids and he wanted them to be able to communicate with him through his platform on YouTube. And when you go check out his platform, there's this, there's a kind of weird feeling of him sort of parenting his kids through the platform. But I definitely think there are a lot more than 1,000 children out there, a lot more, because you can only track so many so far, right? That's it. Of course, I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. I appreciate you all checking out yet another episode of Coffee Pod. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.
Like this.
Yes, I get kiss it. I don't want to lose her. Damn it, where's the other? There it is. I didn't see it.
Take it slow for a while.
baby. My poor baby here. All right. It's okay, Angel. I know it's getting chilly, but Daddy's going to try to finish this thing.
Your droid knows. Is it possible? He never. All right.
All right. Let's play another video. We can find one. All right. This one's an hour long. I don't know if we can finish it, but it's from Alex Jones. Whistleblower turned Cybertruck bombing patsy warning of war crimes and Trump assassination plot in detailed an email to Patriot.
Matthew is the ultimate patsy confirmed. And when I talk to two Delta Force guys I've known for a long time, and they say this is total crap, I already knew it then. Plus all the MO and the rest of it. Sam Shoemate, very respected intelligence analyst, very trusted by folks that I trust, have given me nothing but good intel over the years, has an email that we'll put on screen here in a moment. And he was talking to Matthew just recently, and he has released the email. This is December 31st at 10 a.m. He said they've got plans basically to attack people with drones, to attack the White House, to attack the inauguration. And he said, they're after me, they're trying to get me. Now, we know from state police and others that arrested McVeigh, he told them that. I talked to the police officers who were murdered in Oklahoma City because they were the first respond that told their families the same thing. McVeigh said, I didn't want to bomb the building. I didn't want to blow up the daycare. So they drugged him up and then had him picked up and wrote that in. And there's a whole story behind that. Southern Poverty Law Center, NATO intelligence, because CIA for illegal stuff will use NATO for domestic operations. We had Carol Howell, the informant for the feds, went public about how they cooked the bomb at Camp Gruber. And so Oklahoma City, we know exactly how they did it. And so I said today, look, this will be like McVeigh. They set him up. He won't be part of it. Well, now this is his email on record. This is real, saying that he was basically on the run because he was a drone expert in Delta Force and had gotten information about attacks coming up against Trump, which we've been warning of. They could use drones. They're robots, so you can program them, and then no one ever knows who really did it. You can say Iran did it, you name it. I've been saying all the pre-hysteria about drones could be ahead of an attack on Trump. Been a lot of activity out at his Westminster in New Jersey. Remember, Trump said, I'm canceling my trip to that place a few weeks ago.
This could have been a dog whistle saying, I know what you're planning to do if I'm there.
It was 100% that. I can say that from talking to high-level people with Trump. So but now we've got HUMAT. We've got the general public aware of this, engaged, and involved. And so the globalists have a big, big problem. So here's the bottom line, and then we'll go to the Sean Ryan clip. Matthew is a hero. Who knows if it's even his body in the vehicle? He may even still be alive. Obviously, he did not commit suicide. He is a super Trump supporter. He was worried about what he saw going on in his need-to-know area, compartmentalized. He saw the pieces. And he said, I'm worried about an attack on the inauguration or the White House once Trump gets in. That's the stay behind network. Even if Trump gets in, they've already been trying to kill him. They can program these autonomous drones and things, and then no one ever knows who did it.
He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the U.S. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operations Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive V-bid.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news from Alex Jones on the latest developments regarding Matthew Livelsberger. Alex, what have you uncovered?
Well, as I said in the last few days, and I said on my broadcast just hours ago, I've studied how they use Fort Bragg, particularly Delta Force individuals, to carry out a lot of illegal black ops. And over the years, they start saying they're not going to be part of it, and then they almost always get set up in a terror attack. And I've made films on it, I've written books on it, I've interviewed all the experts that McVeigh was in Delta Force, and he didn't want to be part of bombing the building, so they went ahead and wrote him into the script as the bad guy. And that actually came out with his lawyers and everything. I've interviewed his lawyers, everybody. It's well documented. And the head of the MK-Ultra mind control program was then assigned as his doctor, Jolyon West. Folks, you can't make this up. The Unabomber was CIA, MK-Ultra, LA Times, AP, looked at it. You can't make this up. So it would take hours to go into all the data in the background, but I did that today on my 4-hour show. Did 2 hours on it. How Matthew Livelsberger is totally innocent. I've talked to 2 Delta Force members that are currently operators that I've known personally, one of them for 10 years, the other for 5. And they worked with him. They said he was Mr. America. He was John Wayne meets Clark Kent, just incredible guy. I mean, as good as it gets. And I said today, I think it's going to come out that he was whistleblowing or exposing corruption in the Biden administration. I said that in the first hour and second hour, just to show, and I explained the history, how they always do it the same. And that this looked like an Operation Gladio secret team type operation. Any new viewer, just type in Operation Gladio secret team. You'll get a whole area on that with how NATO ran staged terror attacks in Europe for over 30 years, and how they would also burn Green Berets routinely that didn't want to be part of it, like blowing up school buses in Italy and things. The Delta Force ran the staged violence in the WTO in Seattle in '99, and that came out. So I'm just giving you little data points that when I say all this stuff, I'm not, and those are just 1% of what I know. Doc Chambers, colonel in Special Forces, a medical doctor, one of his associates, very respected, broke this news. Because I was given this information an hour ago before I even got off air, and I made some contacts and things. So I have Doc Chambers, certified guy that he trusts, Sam Shoemate, before I say all this, who went on one of the biggest podcasts out there with Sean Ryan, who had the big CIA whistleblower on a few days ago about how she's been going public a few months, that they know there's these ISIS networks being protected by the government inside the country, and they're going to allow the attacks to happen ahead of the inauguration. Now it's happened. So Sean Ryan's doing a great job of really getting some of the best guests on right now. That's an example of what all the other big shows should be doing. So when I'm to say that, we'll play a clip from that. So people are tuning in right now, and they say, what are you getting at? Matthew is the ultimate patsy confirmed. And when I talk to 2 Delta Force guys I've known for a long time, and they say this is total crap, I already knew it then, plus all the MO and the rest of it. And then I said, I wonder if he was a whistleblower internally on something illegally. We got to find that clip from from my show today. We'll add it into this. We're live now, but I'm going to post this on X as soon as I'm done. It needs to go mega viral. Also, that report you heard earlier about Oklahoma City and the inside job. It's a nice quick snapshot by the Corbett report. We'll add that at the end here too. We're live now, but you'll see it all on X when we're done. We're going to put this report together. So we kind of shoot our more complex reports live, then you see the finished product later, so you can actually see how the sausage is made here. But this is just a few data points I'm throwing in. So here's the big takeaway. Sam Shoemate, very respected intelligence analyst, very trusted by folks that I trust, have given me nothing but good intel over the years, has an email that we'll put on screen here in a moment. And he was talking to Matthew just recently, and he has released the email. This is December 31st at 10 a.m. he said they've got plans basically to attack people with drones, to attack the White House, to attack the inauguration. And he said, they're after me, they're trying to get me. Now, we know from state police and others that arrested McVeigh, he told them that. I talked to the police officers who were murdered in Oklahoma City because they were the first respond that told their families the same thing. McVeigh said, I didn't want to bomb the building. I didn't want to blow up the daycare. So they drugged him up and then, had him picked up and wrote that in. And there's a whole story behind that. Southern Poverty Law Center, NATO intelligence, because CIA for illegal stuff will use NATO for domestic operations. We had Carol Howell, the informant for the feds, went public about how they cooked the bomb at Camp Gruber. And so Oklahoma City, we know exactly how they did it. And so I said today, look, this will be like McVeigh. They set him up. He won't be part of it. Well, now this is his email on record. This is real, saying that he was basically on the run because he was a drone expert in Delta Force and had gotten information about attacks coming up against Trump, which we've been warning of. They could use drones. They're robots, so you can program them, and then no one ever knows who really did it. You can say Iran did it, you name it. I've been saying all the pre-hysteria about drones could be ahead of an attack on Trump. Been a lot of activity out at his Westminster in New Jersey. Remember, Trump said, I'm canceling my trip to that place a few weeks ago.
Which could have been a dog whistle saying, I know what you're planning to do if I'm there.
It was 100% that. I can say that from talking to high-level people with Trump. So but now we've got HUMAT. We've got the general public aware of this, engaged, and involved. And so the globalists have a big, big problem. So here's the bottom line, and then we'll go to the Sean Ryan clip. Matthew is a hero. Who knows if it's even his body in the vehicle? He may even still be alive. Obviously, he did not commit suicide. He is a super Trump supporter. He was worried about what he saw going on in his need-to-know area, compartmentalized. He saw the pieces. And he said, I'm worried about an attack on the inauguration or the White House once Trump gets in. That's the stay behind network. Even if Trump gets in, they've already been trying to kill him. They can program these autonomous drones and things, and then no one ever knows who did it. This is so massive, ladies and gentlemen. And so we are seeing history repeat itself. And I even called this while I was on air. This just broke while I was already on air, and I literally called it that I bet it turns out he was a whistleblower on something, maybe even an upcoming attack on Trump. And so to do all of this, they also had this other guy from the same Army unit. He probably knew too much. We're not sure. Probably told them there was a drill or something. They sent them out for drills. They usually set them up during a drill, and then it goes live, or they can remote control these vehicles. That's the problem with self-driving vehicles, is it's perfect for all of this. We know in 9/11 they took control of the aircraft by remote control. That came through from the flight phones. Before that happened, they said there was gas on the planes. I mean, there's so much data that goes into this. So we're going to go to break. We're going to come back right at the start of the next hour, and we're going to play the very important 5-minute segment from the Sean Ryan podcast with Sam Shoemate. There's more clips from the show as well, but as soon as I'm done live here with Chase and he goes on to other big stories and issues, we are going to put this out. But quite frankly, this is just amazing. But the fact is, it's not incredible or not shocking because we see this over and over and over again. They will recycle the good guys that blow the whistle as the bad guys. They will kill you, and then they will write you into the story as a villain. One of the classic things is they'll just go kill your wife and kids and then kill you, and then say that it was a murder-suicide. That's one of their favorite things as well. They've done that to a lot of people. This is a big, big deal. So we're going to go to break. We're going to come back. We're going to get this information. But I need everybody watching the War Room right now to take the live feed of this show and share it right now at Real Alex Jones. Take the feed and share it. And I need you to take this report. Once we're done, in fact, we'll just do it all live. I want to get to this clip of his friend releasing the email. Then I want to play the Oklahoma City report again. It's so important for everybody, just to give you a snapshot of this. And then I want to get to some of the other clips that we now have from Sean Ryan, where he talked about more with Sam Shoemate. This is incredible. And we absolutely called it yet again, because this is all I do is study this information. You got the white hats in Delta Force and the black hats, and it's the black hats that then will set up and use the white hats to become the villain. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to the War Room. This is Alex Jones. I want to play you a clip. It's one of the best short synopses of what really happened in Oklahoma City, which I pointed out on my show today is the example of what I expect to come out with the former Delta Force, or current one, that was killed, they say, at the Cybertruck bombing in front of Trump International in Vegas. And then we will get to the critical information from the Sean Ryan show today with Matthew's friend. So that is coming up. But I cannot express to listeners, it's important to understand all this so that the attacks that they're planning against Trump, that I said this would be the cover for and the pre-programming for, don't happen by spotlighting it. And he sent one of his friends information that they were after him because there were bad guys inside the government planning to attack the inauguration or the White House or Trump with autonomous drones they programmed. You know, the perfect assassin you can send out and doesn't know who sent it. Here's the report on Oklahoma City.
Are you the Oklahoma City bomber?
Maybe one of the benefits of me talking to you today is that you'll see that maybe not everything is true that you've heard about me.
On the morning of April 19th, 1995, a decorated Gulf War combat vet blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City using a truck bomb that he didn't build and a Ryder truck that he didn't rent with the help of a passenger who didn't exist. Having just gotten away with the largest act of terrorism on U.S. soil to date, the Fort Bragg-trained Special Forces Sheep Drip Dropout blended in with the crowd by making his getaway in a car without a license plate and was immediately pulled over. The ATF was the supposed target of the attack, but luckily all of their agents were out of the office that morning. Later that day, the president boldly declared,
"We will find the people who did this.
And
when we do, justice will be swift, certain, and severe."
Except for
John Doe number 2.
John Doe number 2.
John Doe number 2, who, according to the FBI, never existed. In McVeigh's unprecedented 3.5-week trial, the prosecution didn't show the CCTV footage of him and John Doe number 2 parking the Ryder truck. Didn't explain why 24 separate witnesses mass hallucinated the existence of John Doe number 2. Didn't explain why the government was testing truck bombs and the Army was storing Ryder trucks at Camp Gruber right before the bombing, and didn't talk to the FBI informants who blew the whistle on the plot. But they did collaborate with the CIA, and they did convict McVeigh as the lone wolf bomber and Terry Nichols as his bomb-constructing accomplice. Still, a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists, including 300 bombing victims, insist on talking about facts and evidence and refuse to simply believe what they've been told a million times by people in tailored suits with well-coiffed hair. They quote the U.S. Army Brigadier General and the FBI crime lab whistleblower and the inventor of the neutron bomb, who point out the physical impossibility that the Ryder truck bomb did the damage to the building, but that doesn't matter because if there were other bombs in the building that day, we would have heard about them.
The second explosive was found and defused. I think he said another bomb.
The Justice Department is reporting that a second explosive device has been found.
They then found a third device, which was also larger than the first.
And I see another bomb truck going, so apparently they're going to try to get out that third bomb.
The FBI claims to have lost the footage showing McVeigh and John Doe number 2 parking the truck in front of the Murrah building that morning, but that's understandable because the Bureau has a lot of important evidence to store. Terry Nichols insists the FBI was involved in the plot, but thankfully a judge has saved us the trouble of listening to him by preventing lawyers from deposing him. There was a bomb squad truck parked across the street 2 hours before the blast, but that just shows the authorities were prepared for anything. And
other documents obtained by 2020 show that someone called the Executive Secretariat's office at the Justice Department in Washington and said the Murrah building had been bombed. But this was 24 minutes before the blast.
But that just shows the public was unusually vigilant that morning. Also,
apparently, before the bombing, Governor Frank Keating's brother, Mark, had been working on a novel about a terrorist bombing in Oklahoma City. Stranger still, one of the characters in the novel was named Thomas McVeigh.
But that's probably just a coincidence. McVeigh wrote a letter to his sister where he admitted to being a secret Special Forces operative, and he complained to friends of the pain in his ass from an Army-implanted microchip. But that's crazy, because if he didn't actually leave the Army in 1991, there would be proof of that. McVeigh was not executed on May 16, 2001 as scheduled because
the FBI had failed to turn over thousands of pages of evidence to McVeigh's defense attorneys.
But the execution went ahead on June 11th. In a highly unusual and secret agreement, no autopsy was performed. One witness said he was still breathing, and the prison officials admitted his hearse was a decoy. Then, the case was officially closed. And if you question any part of this story, you are a paranoid, wingnut, birther, truther, tenther, prepper, conspiracy loon who'd bring up any of these points ever again. Ever.
Matthew Allen Livelsberger was a Delta Force operator doing secret operations for the U.S. government around the world, including Europe. He has been completely set up. You cannot believe anything you're being told. I have talked to Delta Force operators that were friends with him and worked with him and said that he was Captain America, basically. And his family has said that this is completely impossible. And I said on my show today, before it even broke, on one of the very popular shows out there, Sean Ryan, saying and showing the email he sent on December 31st at 10 a.m., saying they're planning drone attacks. That's what he was an expert in special operations. He moved into that. And he was worried about them attacking Trump, the inauguration, the White House. This is the perfect autonomous weapon the deep state could use. They don't just need stay-behind soldiers that work for them. They can have robots now. And that the government was after him. I said on my show, same thing with McVeigh. He didn't want to bomb the Oklahoma City building. He was in Delta Force. He'd come out in court. And that usually they will flush one of their guys that is about to expose a larger operation. Instead, they blow him up in a cyber truck, put his body in there. Maybe it wasn't even his body. Maybe it's somebody else, probably him, who knows. And now it's a Trump supporter trying to blow up Trump. So this is massive information, smoking gun. And I've talked to multiple Delta Force operators I've known for a long time. I also can tell you that Sam Shoemate works with a very good person, a Special Operations Army Colonel, Doc Chambers, medical doctor, good friend of mine, friend of the show. You know him well. And so, you know, he vouches and works with Shoemate. We're going to get Doc on as early as tomorrow. He lives outside Austin in Dripping Springs. We are on this, and as more breaks, we'll be here covering it. But this is massive evidence of this being a deep state operation to recycle somebody as a villain who was about to expose a threat to Trump. We've had Trump canceling with all the drone activity over his golf course, estate, and hotel there in New Jersey, saying the drones are mainly focusing on his property, so that he canceled that a few weeks ago. We've warned they would probably try to use drones to kill Trump at an event or at the inauguration. They magically, again, the FBI finds Matthew's ID and things in the vehicle, but the guns and himself cannot be identified. They're so destroyed. This is like two of the hijackers' passports being found the day after 9/11 in the rubble. Give me a break. The same garbage over and over again. And I said, I bet it comes out he was a whistleblower. I had no idea it would be about drones attacking Trump. So, and I said all the drone hysteria is probably about them pre-programming that it's Iran or China. So if they kill Trump with drones, they can try to blame them. This is just unbelievable. Here is the Sean Ryan Show with Sam Shoemate breaking it down.
December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the U.S. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operations Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive V-bid. Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive V-bid. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a V-bid was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally. You fucking serious? Dead serious. I said it twice, and he goes, you said that word V-bid. Can you tell me what that is? For your audience, a VBID, for your audience who has not been in the GWOT for the last 20 years, a VBID is a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. In layman's terms, a car bomb, what we saw at Trump Tower. So, backing up, he says, I am armed and have a massive VBID. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. Here's where he gets into the other stuff, and this is where we had to redact the names. Well, your producer redacted the names. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of civcas, that's civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with U.S. FORA, an agent, redacted, of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with redacted IO staff on this as well as the response to Bala Murghab. Redacted commander at the time, redacted can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. Then he says, for vetting, my LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Matthew Livelsberger, an active duty 18 Zulu out of 110, that's 1st Battalion 10th Special Forces Group. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP, USAP access.
What is USAP? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is. But I checked his credentials on LinkedIn. So that was the first thing I did. I went to his LinkedIn page. First thing I noticed was all of his bona fides were in place. He has all the UAS training from USASOC and everything else. And so I said, okay, at least the guy knows what he's talking about with drones. That was a very rough dig into the guy. But my issue was I couldn't validate or verify any of this information. And I told him that. And how I responded to him was in a subsequent email. I said, this is obviously a very big deal, but I don't have anything to verify this information with. Talking about gravitic propulsion systems without evidence just makes me another UFO talking head. Like, I'm not going to go on my social media page and start talking about UFOs and anti-gravity systems and everything. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't. And he said, can I get on Fox News Contact on Signal as well as Sean's show? Hegseth would be good too. That was his last message to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, what is a gravitic propulsion system?
To be honest with you, it is a fancy term you're going to find in science fiction. You won't find it in any, as far as I know, you won't find this in any kind of official manual or, scientific research. This is all science fiction.
Matthew Allen Livelsberger has been set up. Sam Shoemate, who's been an intelligence analyst and is well respected according to my sources like Doc Chambers, Army Special Operations Colonel, and medical doctor, and others, and then other friends of mine that I've known, one for 10 years, one for 5, who are in Delta Force, said that they knew Matthew and that he was basically like Captain America, just John Wayne, just Clark Kent. They said just a really great guy, wonderful person, big Trump supporter. His family said that as well. No way he'd kill himself. No way he'd go blow up a truck in front of Trump Tower. And then this email goes out to this well-known intelligence analyst and journalist, Sam Shoemate, and it just absolutely fits in to what I was saying on my show earlier today, right as this was breaking. I didn't even know about this, that in the case of McVeigh, it was the same thing. He was really in Delta Force. That was secret. He was supposed to infiltrate right-wing groups. That came out from a lot of documents. And experts interviewed police officer families that were murdered, like Terrence Yakee's family. And, others discovered this. Former head of the FBI in California, Ted Gunderson. I mean, we've made films. We're experts on this, and it's just crazy. And I said, were they getting rid of him because he knew something? And then you talk about or gravitic, craft. According to my sources, really respected people, they've had that for at least 30 years, and that's what you see a lot of these craft actually doing. I don't know if it's really China doing it. I don't know if Livelsberger had been given disinfo, and we're not, 100% absolutely clear that somebody didn't spoof this on his account, but it did come in before this happened. But regardless, there you have it, and this is a big deal. And none of it fits for him going and blowing himself up. And then the other guy, supposedly Muslim, in the same group, in the same unit, they're at Fort Bragg, and this all happening on the same day. I mean, you add all that together, this is extremely, extremely suspicious. So that's the big news on Matthew Allen and what happened to him. This is just wild. But we do know that what adds credibility to Livelsberger and this information is that Trump said, I'm not going to my hotel/golf course he had it scheduled because the drones were on the maps, mainly focusing on that. They're also harassing military bases, but the military tells them not to shoot at them. So I believe the military, compartmentalized, doesn't know what's happening, but other units and groups do. That's what the experts we've interviewed, they really have great records of it, have been breaking down. So with Matthew Allen Livelsberger, we have Trump weeks ago saying, I think these drones may be targeting me. They're focusing on my golf course, Westminster, there in New Jersey, which they were, according to all the radar information. These things go on and off radar. They go away at super speed. The people also confuse regular commercial drones or aircraft as this. People are looking up from their phones now to the sky for the first time in a while. But you add that to it. We've been warning that the deep state could use drones to attack Trump, the inauguration, or another event. And then have plausible deniability because it's robots and they wouldn't report back, or they could have their hard drives erased, basically. So this is a big deal. We'll continue to watch this as it unfolds. But as I said at the start of my show, and my sources, they say that Matthew is absolutely patsy and is innocent. But good job to Sam Shoemate and Sean Ryan for getting this information out.
So now that we know that this is likely regarding blowing the whistle around drone attacks against Donald Trump and how this could escalate to thermonuclear war and basically become a mass extinction event for humanity, how do we make sure that the right people get this message and prevent something from happening, God forbid, on the inauguration or some other event?
Well, we're trying to get it right. We're trying to be truthful. We have a pretty good track record, 97% or so being accurate, because we study everything. We talk to everybody. We're human intelligence. We're grassroots. And that's what everybody's doing now. So we're all checking facts, researching things, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. But I've been predicting these terror attacks. I've been predicting all of this, and then trying to tie it to Trump supporters and things right before the inauguration. I've been doing this for months. That you guys found a compilation of me 3, 4, 5 months ago saying this and predicting it with other former intelligence operatives and people like Scott Bennett, who died mysteriously after he came back from covering what was happening in Ukraine a month ago. But the crew's still digging up me in the last month saying I'd expect fake Islamic attacks, then somehow blamed on Trump ahead of the inauguration because that's what they've been pre-programming in the movies in Hollywood. So it's pretty obvious once you know what you're looking for. And so we're continuing to analyze this, but this fits all the pieces of what I said this morning before this information even broke.
Basically, the latest developments are that this person, Livelsberger, Matthew Allen Livelsberger, was an American hero. He was attempting to blow the whistle on the fact that there was going to be a drone assassination attempt on the life of Donald Trump in order to catalyze World War III and get us into an escalated conflict that could potentially lead to the extermination of humanity itself between these nuclear powers. He was trying to blow this whistle, and all of a sudden he's dead and blows up a Cybertruck outside of the Trump Tower, and it was to silence him from blowing this whistle. But we have caught on. He was sending emails out. Sean Ryan had an amazing guest on his show who had received these emails. This is Sam Shoemate. As far as I understand it, this is what happened. So I want to show you a couple of clips from the Sean Ryan show. We showed you a longer one earlier, just kind of adding credibility to what is unfolding right before our eyes. I think we might have stopped. We might have revealed a major psychological operation while it was taking place. Before this assassination attempt could happen, I just pray that Trump gets the message, that he's very careful on January 19th and January 20th, and that he takes it very seriously, that there is a plot to assassinate him using drone technology. Let's go to the first Sean Ryan podcast with Sam Shoemate. How Sam got the email positive motive planting on Livelsberger. This is the 237 clip. Let's run it right now and then we'll unpack it.
And because of your background, you come across wild information all the time. You're here today because of an email you received from Matthew Livelsberger a couple of days before the Cybertruck bombing at Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. You'll also be able to discuss what you know about the terrorists who conducted the New Orleans attack. Did I miss anything?
No, that sums it up. Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll give a background on why that's significant so your viewers understand how this came into my inbox.
Perfect. One other thing that I just wanted to say to the audience is, even though we are redacting these names from the episode, you passed that, I believe you passed that email on to the FBI.
Yes.
We're also going to pass it on to our contacts at the FBI. It's very obvious that people know it. Like I said, the CID has been telling everybody. In fact, we talked to Jeremy, who's sitting over there, my producer, me, him, and my attorney, Tim Parlatore. We're up till about 10:30 last night talking to the chief of staff?
The Army Chief of Staff PA.
The Army Chief of Staff's POA took a major interest in this as well. And, one of the things that he said, I'll wait till later to bring that up, but I don't know, I don't trust any of these people. I mean, public affairs officers are there to...
I'll keep my mouth.
Yeah, create...
Yeah.
Create...
PAO is there to protect the command.
Yeah.
100%, nothing else.
Yeah.
They're not there to shed transparency on anything. They are there to protect the command.
Let's recreate what the story is. But, and you know what's interesting? Fuck it, I'm just going to say it. You know what he said? He goes, on the call, he said, I didn't talk to him. I didn't want to talk to him. But so add them talk to him. He said, between me and you guys, this guy's DNA didn't match his son. And made it sound like it's some big secret. Then at 9:34 p.m., I think it was 9:34 p.m., the New York Post had a headline that said that this guy's... So they're trying to make it sound like this guy did this because maybe he found out the son wasn't his. But there's a lot more to this story, as you'll find out. So,
yeah. I didn't mean anything about it. I was just being humorous for my audience. I said, my inbox was especially eventful today. Allegations of war crimes, government anti-gravity technology, and fears about being tracked and watched by the feds. It's always, the world is ending and I have this information that needs to get to the media, and never, how you doing, brother? Everything all right? I was just playing off of a meme.
Mm-hmm.
It was just supposed to be a joke. That was the body of his email that he sent me. And I didn't think anything about it. I didn't know who Matt Berg was, Matt Livelsberger, or anything else. He told me who he was in the email. He pointed me to his LinkedIn account. I didn't know any of this stuff. And I was just kind of being humorous with my audience. Like, I get these crazy messages sometime. And then the day after that message, I wake up and my buddy was like, hey, Sam, nobody in the community seems to know this guy. Do you happen to know who he is? So I'm in a military...
Hopefully they actually do something.
Yeah, I'm in a military group chat. Buddy, Green Beret, Corey, he says, at Sam. Nobody I've asked in the community knows him. You is at 8:46 a.m. yesterday. So I woke up and I said, OF, I'm shaking. This guy emailed me 2 days ago. I'm not playing. And then he said, damn. And then this was my response to him at 8:48. Like, just woke up.
I'm fucking shaking, bro. You don't understand. This guy emailed me and told me he was being watched by the FBI and Homeland Security, but they weren't going to do anything to him because he had a VBID. I'm not fucking playing, dude. I have the email. I am shaking, man. This is nuts.
And it goes from there. And I sat there for probably an hour talking to my wife. I'm shaking. I can't even think straight. Like, normal day is shot, and I didn't know what I want to do. Do I sit on this? Do I do nothing with it? I've got to tell somebody. I've got to tell the FBI at least, because this is huge. This is all over the news. And then I was like, well, dude, this guy wanted to get in contact with Sean Ryan, so let me get this to Sean Ryan, see if I can get with him. And I had a buddy who knew your producer.
Unbelievable developments as it pertains to this. Breaking update from yesterday. Why are both New Year's Day attackers associated with the U.S. Army headquarters for psychological operations? This has MK Ultra written all over it. Breaking: Cybertruck Trump hotel bomber was dead from gunshot to head before the vehicle detonated. Play these two clips kind of back to back, just so that we have this as documented context for everything we've been talking about over the course of the last couple of hours. Let's go ahead and run them, guys.
Really struck me as, like I had mentioned, after our phone call, I jumped in an interview. After the interview, checked my phone, and I had several Green Berets, former Green Berets, one still active. Actually, I'm just going to say it was Tim Kennedy sent me a message late last night about 9 p.m. and said, hey, I should have brought my phone up here, but hey, basically that the USASOC wants to give me more context on what had happened on this guy. And so first I wasn't going to take the call because I don't trust the government anymore. I don't think anybody does. But I was on the phone with my producer, who was a naval surface warfare officer, and my attorney, Tim Parlatore. They said we should talk to him. So I called Tim, was really pissed off, reamed his ass about it, and then later apologized. But, I think you said you had mentioned that you had received a message from somebody that says nobody's heard of this guy. Tim sent me a picture of him shooting with this guy. And I don't know if I should release that photo or not, but Tim basically told me this. So I got the POA's number, the public affairs officer, sent it to Jeremy and Tim. He talked to them. And what they wanted us to know was that this guy was an upstanding soldier, an excellent operator, was moving on, was moving towards retirement and moving on to basically enhance the future of warfare. The PA officer sounds like almost jokingly said, which I don't know why you would joke about this, said that, and between us, if they didn't want us to know that information, then they just wouldn't have told us that. But they wanted us to know, obviously, that the DNA with his supposed child was not a match. And so I think what they were trying to do is basically make this out to be, this is why this happened. He got bad news that that's not his child, and so that's why he did it. But the other thing is, I started receiving a lot of messages from one of the redacted names, who's a DEA agent, the one that he's talking about in the email to you. We got it from multiple sources, one of which was actually a videographer for me, I think 4 years ago. He worked for me a very short period of time. I had to let him go. He joined the Army, went to OCS, became an Army officer, sent me a text, super freaked out. Apparently he was on some rafting trip with somebody that knows the DEA officer and said, hey, this guy's still operational. He wants his name redacted.
Wow.
Not the only one. Then I received a message from another very close friend of mine who's been on the show several times saying that he got word that this guy was still operational. And so that's why we decided to redact his name. I was getting upset because I didn't receive any communication up to that point. Well, then I checked my LinkedIn. I said, let me see if this guy actually messaged me. Sure as shit, that DEA agent did message me, said that he wanted to talk to me before tomorrow's interview. It was really important.
Wow.
We tried to contact him, not from my phone. I'm not calling any of these people, but from somebody else's phone. He didn't pick up, and we weren't going to send any text thread to show any communication between us.
I looked at, and I want to give context on one of the things. I saw this going around on social media. People were saying that his Signal chat, his safety number changed. I don't know if you saw this on X, but it was all over X. Apparently his safety number on Signal changed. He messaged me on Signal. So I went on there to look myself to see if it changed. And sure enough, it had. On January 1st, after the bombing, after he was dead, his safety number changed. That's all he sent me. He said initial contact, and I gave a thumbs up, and his safety number changed at the bottom.
Look at that.
That's after he's dead. I don't know enough about Signal to know why that would happen. Somebody has to have manipulated that, though, and messed with it. Somebody had to have been in his account after the fact and done something for that to have changed.
What did the FBI say when you contacted him?
Not a lot. I gave him the story on what went down. This is why he contacted me. This is my social media page. This is any reason why this could have happened, this got dumped on me. This is the information. They took it. They were gracious. They were nice to talk to. Mind you, I had to explain what a VBID was, which was disheartening because you're the FBI, but that's another issue altogether. But nothing beyond that. They said thank you, and we'll be in touch if we have any further questions.
Well, they definitely got in touch with CID.
Yeah, they did.
Because that went all the way to the top of the Army.
Unbelievable, folks. All right, we're going to go to your calls. Let's just go right down the line. Godzilla, you were the first to call. You're the first to speak. Go ahead.
Hey, Chase. Yeah, with MK Ultra angle of mind control, there's also Operation Midnight Climax.
Mm-hmm.
And information on that kind of got changed over the years where now it just talks about like entrapment with prostitutes and drugs, but it was crucial for mind controlling people using these crazy drugs and sex operatives.
Yep.
You know, because people are driven by normal urges and existence, whatever. But you know, we got to look through all of this also, including the MK Ultra, through the lens of that we're now in the age of AI, quantum computers tapping into the ether and multiverse, and this is mass MK Ultra going on because it's also affecting society and the world at large. And like that one Mossad guy was saying, it's like a battle now between different agenda groups as history's actors and what the worldwide narrative is going to be in the future, given Trump's election. Is it going to be war, pandemic, or the American golden age or worldwide golden age? And I think it's up to the Conservative Party to, you know, make sure Trump does things that his party wants, and also that he's protected. You know, given the latest revelations by your show regarding the drone attacks, like he should have full body armored Secret Service agents around him with like retractable shields and shotguns.
He shouldn't be giving any speeches or holding any rallies in an open air environment. I mean, it's just obvious.
The military has like weaponry that like shoots down drones with like microwaves, concentrated microwave. You know, so it's like, you know, we paid for that stuff for these types of situations.
Right, but they're just letting all the drones fly around. They're from China, no problem, huh? Just told me that they do have these Brandon Biggs clips, so I want to run these before we come to break. Thank you so much, though, for your call, Bregan. I appreciate it. Let's go ahead and run the clips.
We plead the blood of Jesus over Tennessee, over Nashville. Very interesting. Father, I thank you, Lord, that you're rising up. And Las Vegas, over Las Vegas, Father, I just seen a glimpse of Vegas. Oh, are these all on the same day? I pray over Las Vegas, Lord. Oh, it is. I just seen a glimpse of New Orleans, Bourbon Street. It is an attack simultaneously. When people are distracted, with much drinking in these areas, with intoxication in these areas, on these streets that I'm seeing, there's people that are very intoxicated. Their senses are not alerted for what's happening. Now, in these areas are picked. There's bars. It's not as strong in New Orleans as Tennessee and Nevada, as Tennessee and in Las Vegas, as Nashville and Las Vegas, the party scene. There's something about New Orleans, but it's not as strong as what I see about these two places. There's something more. It's like one and many. But I would say New Orleans is darkest, but there's just one man and many. It's a massed plan. It's a mass plans. For we take authority over this in the name of Jesus.
Rob Dew has been doing astounding research, going through the Sean Ryan podcast, looking into what's going on with this Matthew Livelsberger guy. We've got clip after clip just showing how bizarre this is. He told me about an hour ago that this was like a Tom Clancy novel happening in real life. Dew, where are you mentally with your interpretation of what the hell is going on?
Well, what I say, we're in a Tom Clancy novel. We're only in chapter 3. We're seeing the initial and ignition events that are going on, but it's going to go back. I think it's going to go back to this war crime. If you guys put up that email that Sam...
Sure, I've got it in the overhead.
Sam, yeah. They talk about this war crime that happened in August of 2019. And I think you're going to see at some point somebody in the Army, because the Army seems to be really concerned about this email and the people that are on it. So it's floating all around. It's going, you can tell by just watching the Sean Ryan podcast. I mean, they're getting called, both guys were getting calls from different people that one were former employees at Sean Ryan's. That's interesting. He calls them up out of the blue. So you're seeing what's going on when an event happens. Like Alex talks about this. Something happens and people are hitting him from all over, like people he hadn't talked to in a while to people he talks to all the time. Like, what do you think? What do you think? All these things going on. So these guys are getting that now. Mm-hmm. But you look at, yeah, exactly. That's kind of how it makes you feel. That's 2025. Thank God it's, oh no, it just started. We're still in the first few days of 2025. But I think it's going to go back to this war crime and who was involved in it and the cover up behind it. I think what happened was this might have happened whenever it happened. COVID kind of enveloped it, and COVID became our life from late 2019 into even this year. It's still going. So now, but we had the Biden administration in who didn't care about anything, so nothing was brought up about this. Now it's going to come out, and I think the people, this is my conjecture, nobody else is telling me to say this, but I think it's going to be people associated, either Obama appointees or somebody who put something out, did this crime, trying to cover it up, and now they're really afraid that this is going to come out. And this Livelsberger had something either direct. Now it sounds like he had direct knowledge of it.
He explicitly said in the email that he was involved in the cover-up of it.
Yeah. So, either he was trying to whistleblow, or it sounded like he was trying to go to Mexico, and then maybe they got him. If you look at the map, people were showing, well, why didn't he drive from Colorado straight to Vegas? Instead, he went down into New Mexico, which kind of lines up with his story of wanting to go to Mexico. But then when he hits Albuquerque, he makes that right turn instead of the left turn and then heads into Vegas. And maybe that was just part of the scheme to put a message out to Trump saying, don't look into this. Don't look into this guy. We're going to try to tie this guy to you. And then there's the cover story of, well, he found out, his baby wasn't his. Well, somebody just sent in their DNA to 23andMe of their lizard, and it says it was 53% Ashkenazi Jew. So how reliable is that information anyway? You see where I'm going here? It's
Some would say,
crazy.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
I told you.
Aliens, man. But it's just, you're looking at this going, there's way too many things involved for this to just be one guy, disgruntled guy. There's the map I'm talking about of him going down, and then he hits Albuquerque and just kind of boom. Because if you go from Albuquerque south, you would hit like maybe El Paso, and then that would be a good spot for you to go into Mexico. Because the border's porous on both sides. You could go in and out pretty much anywhere you want. There's nobody going to stop you.
So there's a couple of things that are interesting about this email. First of all, he's talking about the major cover-up with the 2019 bombings that occurred in Nimruz, Nimruz province, Afghanistan. Obviously, we know that the intelligence community was withholding a lot of information from President Trump. They weren't telling him the truth about whether or not troops were being withdrawn or deployed in certain areas. So this is well documented. Well understood. There was a brick wall between the intelligence community being honest with Donald Trump with information.
And then you had the CIA agent saying we're sending money to Afghanistan. Maybe that's the payoff for them to keep quiet about it. We're sending 40 to 80 million a week flying it there.
And then if you get out of there spontaneously and let the terrorist factions take over and destroy everything, then nothing reliable comes from the region anymore. Yeah. So there's that, but there's also the fact that earlier in the email, almost in passing, he says this couple of sentences here. He says, the so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. So the concern here is that maybe he was about to blow the whistle not only on the 2019 Afghanistan province stuff in the cover up of the violation of the rules of war and what was deployed there, but also the fact that there could be a major attack or assassination attempt on Donald Trump. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, there totally could be. But I think why people are concerned about it and why they're getting these calls are because of the past things. Obviously, the future hasn't happened yet, so they can't get in trouble for something that didn't happen yet. You know,
Right.
planning, we always plan these things. You know, they could just say that. But this is something verifiable that they could go back. There's probably video of it. There's probably satellite imagery of it. But yeah, obviously, Trump's having a big rally on the 19th, or the 19th, January 19th at a hockey arena near D.C. or right in D.C. I don't know exactly where that hockey arena is, but that doesn't seem too smart to be doing that, tempting fate. But maybe he's just trusting in God at this point, and he's like, let the chips fall where they may. Hopefully Vance isn't there at the same time, so we have some sort of a contingency plan. But it is crazy, and what's real crazy is how did this car get there? They're not showing the car pulling up. They're not showing a shot of any type. If he did shoot himself, you would think the guy standing behind the car with his luggage would have heard a gunshot from a .50 caliber pistol. A Desert Eagle's not something quiet.
Right.
It's very loud. I've shot one before.
Even
I've
a
shot
9mm, you'd
50
hear it if you were standing right outside of a car. I mean, those things
you
will
would
hurt your
hear
ears
something.
if you shoot without your protection.
You would glance over, and so I have to go back and look at that video, because I think every time I used it, I always cut off the front end, because there's not much there. But people are going to be going through all this information, and just stay tuned to the threads. Now, all this I found on the thread of Alex putting up that 14th Amendment video we posted earlier today. Someone took a piece of Sean Ryan's interview, stuck it to the top of that with the full thing, and then that led us down to most of the show you're seeing today. The rest of the show, looking at what Sam, was it Schumann or what's his?
I have it right here.
Shoemaker.
Shoemate.
Yeah, Shoemake. So it leading down that rabbit hole, and that happened at 2:30 today. It just went up today. So all this news is breaking fast. Like I said, we're in the third chapter of this Tom Clancy novel, and it's going to get, I think, crazier and crazier. But I think somehow they don't want this 2019 attack to come out, because that's something that can be you could get justice for that. You can't get justice for orbs flying around. I don't think they're ever going to tell you what those things are, because they're going to keep it top secret, whether it's ours or whether it's anybody else's.
Sure.
But hopefully Trump gets in and stops it. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, I think you should probably get to some of these callers if you.
Sure. No, I certainly will. Thank you so much for coming on and updating us about what's going on. I mean, this is the craziest thing. I told Du an hour ago, this is the craziest thing I've seen since I've been in InfoWars. And I've seen some pretty crazy things unfold, both internally and externally.
The globalist BlackRock New World Order criminals want to make you poor, and they want to make you sick. It's in their own admissions. Well, in any real revolution against tyranny, it is critical that we be independent and that we have the power of free speech. I'm bringing you the ultimate win-win or 360 win or non-zero sum game. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the AlexJonesStore.com affiliate program. It's so easy, even I know how to do it, and I'm not a big tech person. It's free. You go to the AlexJonesStore.com, you go sign up for free, you're given your own affiliate link. And then each month you can cash it out. 10% of every sale of game-changing supplements and amazing Patriot apparel and other great products that people love will go to you each month. So this is a way to help folks out getting great products, to keep the show on the air and expanding in the face of the New World Order, and to put money in your pocket. The globalists want you poor. They want you unhealthy. They want us isolated. They don't want all this Patriot apparel out there, so we realize how strong we are, and so we don't meet like-minded people. This thing is so exciting. I was sitting here before I started taping this announcement, and I was thinking, how do I hype this enough? If people get excited about this, if folks take action with this information, it's incredible. And the folks we're doing it with, our great sponsor at thealexjonesstore.com, have done this with other talk shows, and it's been extremely successful. And this is a chance for you to join the info war. So many people say, hey, we want to help you. We want to get involved. What can we do? This is how you do it. It's decentralized. It's all up to you and how much action you take sharing the links. We've got the great products and the great customer service and everything else. We've got the broadcast. It is a win-win. All you got to do is go to the AlexJonesStore.com, sign up for free, get your link, and start posting it and promoting it, and it'll change the world. Thank you so much for your support. Now go to the AlexJonesStore.com and sign up right now.
gotta do better than that. You should have just walked away.
It's okay.
This guy.
No. The plan!
I was so excited about leaving home, seeing the Republic, being part of something greater.
Oh, it's getting cold out there. I have to turn the heat on. It's so cold. Man, this stuff's crazy, man.
You were reported. Oh, my fleet.
We can't reach you with Jacaro's ship. Take the shuttle.
Well, I think I at least got this stuff done. Took a while, but I got it done. Ooh, we're getting a cold breeze. Even the cat that belongs to somebody else came in because they never. I guess they never take this cat in. You know, I call her girl, and she comes over when it gets cold. Man, she's here because her owners, they just leave her outside. Hopefully I can finish this. I don't want to leave it part way, you know. I just want to finish it and get it over with. Because there's other stuff I could do. Other purple missions.
Oh, no. She's not there. And this. If you know that I should lot. What can I do there? The busy. I'll do my when.
Forge alliances, okay. Begin Shadow of Revan from your ship's console. Okay, so theoretically I should be able to go to the stronghold. And then out to my ship. I'm going to dump some things off here. Should be able to do that. Oh, look, there's more power. Ooh, money. More money. Oh, it looks like Theron has lots of money. Oh, it's really cold. I gotta get this place warmed up. We just got this cold breeze coming in. It's gonna freeze tonight, man. Alrighty then. Alright, let's see. Oh.
There is peace.
There is no ignorance.
There is knowledge.
Master Jedi. What is it? The Navicomputer. Nothing on. Show me.
Are you okay?
A vision.
Oh, we got a vision. Rishi.
You're all right.
I made it to level 75. I'm on Rishi. So upgrade the lightsaber. Alright. So here we are in the starting position. And that's it. Oh, watch it, baby. No, girl. Girl. I'm going to close it up right now. Okay? It's okay. It's okay, girl. It's okay. Give me a second. All right, I got to get this done. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.